cool things is we are live. Is you'll actually be able to see all the comments from Facebook Live and YouTube Live, all in the same location. So it's pretty neat that they'll all kind of roll in on that right column window. I don't know. Can you actually see that?
Yeah, I can see the.
All right. Great. So let me jump over here and get that link just to make sure everything's working the way I hope it would be. Okay, it looks good. All right, Matt Burke from Dynojet, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. You have been requested. This technology, this conversation has been requested. Obviously, when someone brings up the performance, the clutching, all this and that, in the UTV market, you guys have made your staple. So I knew I would just might as well go to the top of the food chain, reach out and see if we could work something out. Glad you're here, and I'm glad to have the expertise on board. How is your day going? Tell me about the weather. Tell me about quarantine. How are you guys doing?
Well, Dynojet is open. We have taken some necessary steps to follow the guidelines that have been placed out there, but we're still, our tech support line's still there and cranking all day long. Sales, we're still shipping product. We've mitigated it. Clearly, as you see, I work from home at the moment. But we're still there helping the customers to the best of our ability. A lot of stuff through email and stuff. Day to day, personally, I just can't wait to get back to racing. I'm used to traveling. I travel quite a bit to shows all around the U.S. And so it's a little different, especially in the UTV arena. Getting in front of people is very big. You can only say so much online. We're actually getting face-to-face. We were at King of the Hammers this year, got to see tons of people. So it's that face-to-face interaction where you can really kind of talk about the product, see their vehicle, help them out. That's really where things move forward.
Now, when you say you go to these races and you go to these events, obviously you're there to talk to the actual consumer, the everyday person like me. But you mentioned, are you guys hands-on with race teams in terms of like development and making sure that their systems are up and running?
So quite often, originally I used to go to the races we had booths where people could come ask questions. We'd be there for support. I still currently do most of the best in the desert races. My wife and I actually started racing. So I'm not only there as a racer, but I'm there still. I think at the last race, I actually had someone come up as I was getting dressed for the race that had a problem. And, it was like, all right, let me help them real quick, get their car going, and then get back to what I need to. So
that's very nice of you. I know if I'm in this, okay, look, my safety gear is a little bit of a hand-me-down, and my fire suit's a little tight. I'll say it like that. And if I'm in the fire suit and I'm ready to go and it's hot, if you come up to me, I might not be the most friendly. So that's pretty cool that you were able to do that, and especially mentally able to do that and step away. So that was cool.
Well, first and foremost, I'm a representative of Dynojet. If I'm there, no matter what, I'm representing Dynojet, and I'm going to help anyone that has our product on there. So. Yeah.
So that's kind of the vibe that I've gotten. Obviously, you have a pretty large social media following. Dynojet has a big, large social media following. You guys have racers, and you guys are really just well known. One of the questions that got asked to us on Instagram was, how do you stay so motivated and just like upbeat and for the business? And I mean, obviously, just having that conversation right there, your moments before a race, how do you manage to keep that spirit going?
That would be Mike Kelly that asked that question. What it is just a passion. So I started working for Dynojet coming on 6 years now. So it's about it's coming up on my 7th year. So I started in 2013. Originally, tech support, doing motorcycles, which that's what we did as power sports, motorcycles. I got the lucky opportunity to go to a UTV event. It was actually Rally at the Rocks. and absolutely fell in love with what UTVs were. And the nice thing is Dynojet has given me the ability to run with it. I know the next 2 years, I think it was at 13 events a year. Trying to,
that's a lot of track.
Everyone knows us for our dynamometers. So the chassis dynamometer that's either in the ground or above ground. You test cars on, tune cars, tune motorcycles. That's what people are used to. That's how they know Dynojet. Either that or our jet kits for carburetors. I mean, it's kind of, if you see the name Dynojet, it's kind of where it all comes from. UTVs was a whole new thing. So they gave me the opportunity, and I went full force with it. And it's really taken off. And our line has gone from just basic fuel adjustments all the way through clutching and bigger turbos. And I mean, we're trying to do everything we can for the UTV market. So
tell me a little bit about your background, because you guys mentioned you guys actually ran the dyno system. I've actually got it pulled up here. Got it in the wrong window here. Let me see if I can jump this over. So I can get it in the right window. All this stuff is still new. There we go. So is that what you're talking about there?
Yes. I'm not the best when it comes to models, but I believe that's the 424, which is 2 drums. That's for an all-wheel. That's basically an all-wheel drive dyno that allows the all-wheel drive cars. It has an option that you can actually, it's the Linksys system, where a belt links the two together so that both drums will turn at the exact same speed. But you can also disengage it to run two-wheeled. Now, an interesting fact is when we first started tuning UTVs, we used one of our ATV dynos, which is a smaller version of this. And we found that we actually needed the automotive dyno to properly tune a UTV because we needed a long enough run. We were getting to peak horsepower and RPM in 3-4 seconds on the ATV dyno, where on the automotive, we could get a full 13-second run. So most of the UTV market, we kind of pushed them toward this because originally when the 800s and 900s were out, the ATV dyno worked perfect. But these 1000s, turbos, just even by wheelbase, you need one of the automotive dynos. But yes, that is one of our staples right there.
Okay, cool. So you have that, and then you guys eventually move over into expanding your UTV market. But before we get to that, tell me a little bit more about the history of Dynojet in terms of how long you guys have been around, because obviously the name precedes everything. It's just you hear the name and it rings a bell in your ear. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
So Dynojet started in the early 70s. Now there's a back and forth within the company of actually what year we started. I've heard anywhere from 72 to 75. But we've been around quite a long time. Chassis dynos was one of the first things. I don't remember. They've kind of talked to me about some of the old stuff, where it was just like a Chevy big block engine with a belt on it spinning a drum.
Yeah,
and that's where they kind of started. Then they got into building carburetor kits, as fuel injection was not out at the time. And of course, as fuel injection came out around 98, I believe, was one of our first Power Commanders. The Power Commander basically won. Some of the old I think the Gixxer was one of the first ones, along with the Harley Davidson, the old Magneti Morelli units. Those are one of the first ones that came out, and the Power Commander has evolved over time. Our current one is the Power Commander 5. Power Commanders are a piggyback system. They basically plug in line with your fuel injection system, coils, and it basically intercepts the signal from the ECU to those parts and then tells them what we want to do. So it's a piggyback system. You yank it out, it's as if it was never there. So that's really where we got where everyone knows us, is those Power Commanders jet kits. UTV market came around and we were doing Power Commanders for it. And then, of course, flash tuning came out.
Right.
Flash tuning is the wave of the future. It's actually the wave of current. That is the way to go. So we dove in head first with UTVs, and started with our Polaris, Razor, It was a 2016 turbo. Started development there. When we started getting more power from that, we realized the next weakest link was clutch kits.
Okay.
Or was clutches. So we go, okay, well, let's start looking at doing clutches. So we started working on clutch kits. And that basically just continued on down the line where, it's like, what's the next weakest point, or what's the next thing we could upgrade?
Yeah.
Even to the point of bigger turbos, that kind of stuff. So, and it started with Polaris, then with Can-Am. And the nice thing about the product line, so that is the Power Vision product line. We've had it around since 2009 for Harley Davidson.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows the Power Vision for Harley Davidson. When we got into UTVs, we came out with this item called the PVCX, which has now evolved into the Power Vision 3. That Power Vision 3 now covers the entire Polaris line, Can-Am. We now do Honda. We do the Talon. We also do the Grom. We do the CBR. We're working on dirt bikes, flashing dirt bikes. Mm-hmm. We are flashing Yamaha side-by-sides. We are now working on, yep, that's it. We're working on we're flashing the R1, the R6, MT10. So it's nice because this unit flashes directly over diagnostic. There's no installation involved. The tunes are already on the unit, flashes directly through the ECU. If you need to, let's say you're having a problem and you want to see if it's tune related, the stock tunes are located on the unit. You can flash that back. Mm-hmm. Some of the units like Polaris, we actually will read the stock tune out of it, so you have your copy of your actual stock tune. But there's a lot you can do with this unit. It actually also works as a data logger. So you can actually data log when you're out. You can send us those logs, and we can actually diagnose what the car is doing. We can work on adjusting the tune and sending it back to you. So.
Yeah, that's really neat. I know me, again, people hear this who listen to the podcast all the time. I'm a software engineer. So AKA I'm a coder, I'm a big nerd. So having the ability to look at data like that, that's pretty neat. But one thing that I always was curious about was when I go online and I go to a retailer and I see, that image that I pulled up, I see this image right here, and it says such and such, 2017 1000 XP, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, etc. There's numerous different names for them. What does that mean? What comes with each package, and what differentiates a phase 1 from like a phase 5, etc.?
So Dynojet, so us being the manufacturer, we kind of do a little different.
Okay.
We basically offer tunes off the shelf, just like we did for the Power Commander. Nothing super crazy. We're basically for the guy that can just plug in and go. Mm-hmm. Now, there's a lot of companies that use our delivery system, basically. So they use the Power Vision, and then they create their own custom tunes. You've got people like Wayland Speed, Aftermarket Assassins, KMS, Performance. They're building custom tunes of their own and then shipping the units with those. Now, they might have E85 tunes, E98 tunes. So they've done some additional stuff. Now, I know I get the call sometimes like, well, do you have an E90 or E85 tune for me? Well, that's not really what we're doing, because we're doing it for the general public, not the few that are actually going for some special tune. We usually send our customers to those guys because, like, hey, these are dealers of ours that are using our product that are doing exactly what you're looking for. So, and the great thing is we actually are now seeing a change where diesel tuners are now coming over, because most of these diesel tuners, these guys that show up in with their truck, that truck is pulling a UTV in the back.
Yeah.
What better way to make a one-stop shop? We've got people like 5-Star Tuning that everybody knows with trucks.
Yeah.
They started in and they're loving it, and they're doing a great job. Rudy's Diesel and Performance is now a dealer of ours selling that product. We're getting that crossover because the guys are already coming to them. They trust them. Why not do both? And so that's what we're looking at.
So that was always something that the tuner programmer for vehicles was always an area that, and for a little bit of background here, I come from experience in automotives at all. Basically, all my experience was I had Jeeps when I was 16 to 20, and when I turned 20, I bought a UTV, and then I'm 25 now, and it's just gone on from there. So very limited. And one of the things that my mom, who was an insurance agent all of her life until she retired, said, if you put a programmer on your car and for some reason it locks up or anything like that, you got to worry about voided warranties or potentially damaging your computer on your car. Are those things real? Is that a real concern?
In all reality, like, we've had warranty stuff that's happened and really haven't had a problem yet. Because if you can communicate to the ECU, you can flash a stock tune back in.
Right.
Most often it's not going to be tune related. It's a mechanical thing.
Sure.
So, I'm sure there is, we don't leave a footprint, but I'm sure there is a coder somewhere back at headquarters that can spend a long time digging and find some kind of, how many times this vehicle has been flashed.
Right.
There is that potential. But there, especially with UTVs, UTV warranty lasts about 6 months.
Yeah, it's not worth anything either.
It's not. And, most often, if you really truly look at your warranty, you change your exhaust, you void a warranty. You change your tire size, you've technically voided warranty. Yeah. So, unless you've got that bone stock car, if they want to mess with you, they're going to. So, yeah, but we have yet to have a problem. Not going to say that it's not possible. Anything in this world is possible.
Sure.
You get a big enough nerd behind a computer, he's going to find whatever he wants to find.
I was about to say, you can definitely do it for sure. But all that being said, I think it's really cool that you guys are, the roots of the performance tune market, because, all these different people take it a step further. And the question is, you guys have obviously the delivery mechanism that works really well to get a tune on a vehicle. And you guys have, is conservative tunes an okay phrase to say? Is that a good ballpark to classify you guys in?
Well, we keep it within a safe range.
Okay.
For the simple fact that, yes, we could push the car farther, but there's really no point. We like to make stuff that comes off the shelf that you don't have to change out head studs or head gasket. You don't have to upgrade the head gasket. Even our bigger turbo kit, it is rated to go farther than we actually set it.
Sure.
Because we're like, we as a manufacturer, because that's sometimes I think customers get us confused because they think we're a tuning shop. We do tune, we do development, but we're not. Our guys could tune, but if we did that, we'd never get new product out, because all we'd be doing is building tunes. We are a manufacturer that created a product, and we're basically creating something that they can just take off the shelf, put on their vehicle, and go have fun. That's our.
Okay. And see, now someone who is, done the racing, done the hill kill, and done all that stuff, I hear about, a lot of these guys, they'll run such and such as stage, 14 tune with crazy tubes and bigger turbo. And I'm just like, you mentioned earlier, you guys got to the point where you were pushing the brakes further down the line. And at what point is, the internals of your engine not where you like? That's not where I want to have an issue when I go out at all. So to me, just a guy who wants to keep his machine together, doesn't feel like getting into those internals like that. That seems like not only the safer bet, more reasonable bet, but we're playing it. I feel like I'm playing it down a little bit. The tunes you guys offer are excellent, because I actually ran one on my last RS1 car. I ran the Dynojet tune, and then I even had the aftermarket Assassins version. And 6 one way, half a dozen another, in my opinion. Maybe it was me who never drove it to the capabilities of the more aggressive tune. But man, it just, I think that you guys are well within the range of high performance for sure. But
yeah,
go ahead.
Definitely know what we're doing in that sense, especially when it comes to our product. We're very familiar with our product and what it does. I know Mike personally at Aftermarket Assassins, great guy. He definitely knows what he's doing. But again, that's why you go to a tuner. because he's got his own way of doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Every tuner out there has got his own reasoning for doing something.
Mm-hmm.
And like I always say, I always get the comments, especially on Facebook, like, well, why is your tune better than aftermarket sounds? I go, I can't honestly say that because I have not tested their tune, but I can say what our tune does, because everyone has their own. The guy who does all of our calibration has a certain way that he tunes and what he wants to see, and that's how his tune's going to be. Now, you go down the street, you might find someone else that has a totally different way that they tune. Yeah. So it really comes down to what you want, what you're looking for. And I always tell people, ask around, find out who people are using, and go with them. I mean, we are technically not open to the public.
Yeah.
So you can't just come by and schedule an appointment to come in. Because we're an R&D facility for our product. So, and that's what it is. We have a lot of dyno owners, so we'd like to send them back out to our dyno owners.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this, and to kind of wrap up the tuner question here. Yep. I go get a Power Vision 3 flash tuner. What can I expect from my vehicle? Is there any more specification I need in purchasing the product other than that, other than knowing that I want that one right there? Or, what do I need to do to order it? And then what am I going to get when I put it on my car?
I mean, you can simply order it through our website. You can go there, put make, model, and year. The tunes come preloaded on the device. Okay. So you'll be able to immediately flash the vehicle. What you can expect is, so like all of our tunes, we raise speed limits, rev limits. We're adjusting fueling timing. We're raising limp home mode. So you throw a code for a misfire, you're not stuck at 3,000 RPM. We raise you to 7,000. We're raising, we're lowering the fan engagement, so you get a cooler, the fan kicks on at a lower temperature. That's basically where you're getting across all the tunes. We're adjusting throttle profile, so it's more of like a 1-to-1, especially in the NA cars. That ratio makes a big difference, so it's not so jerky when you're on and off the throttle. The turbo cars, we're actually altering boost, so we're raising boost. Okay. You're seeing 10 to 12 horsepower to the rear wheels just from adjusting the boost. So
that's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing. Now, realistically, because numbers matter to some people, I come to you and I say, hey, how many horsepower can I get out of your top level, top tier product? What can I expect numbers wise?
So if you went with like our stage 5 so we just released the stage 5 for Can-Am. So that's bigger turbo, our new wastegate, bigger injectors, charge tube, clutch kit tuner. I think we were looking somewhere in the 50 to 60 plus horsepower, running 100 octane. And mind you, the way Dynojet measures all horsepower is rear wheel. Mm-hmm. That's our dynos measure horsepower. So every number we put out there is rear wheel. I know a lot of times people put crank numbers out there, which
that don't count.
I don't really know how they've been getting that. It's kind of a calculation, but I mean, ours is rear wheel. All the way down to the guy that gets just gets the tuner on a turbo. You're 12 to 15 horsepower. You got a guy who puts on 35-inch tires. You're probably going to be lower than that. But again, that's an average. We have never shied away from if we have. There's James.
Yeah, right.
Let me tell you my story with James.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You guys rode together. Tell me a little bit about that, because that dude, every single race I've been to, he comes back with either no doors, one door, half a door. It's something wild. So tell me your story with him.
All right. So it was not this King of the Hammers. It was last year. He had hit me up about sponsorship, and I was like, "Who is this guy? I don't even know this guy." I was like, "I don't know what I can do." And then he had an issue. He was going to stop by our office. He had an issue with the car. He's like, I'll meet you at King of the Hammers. I was like, I'll bring you some product. So I get there. He has a James Cantrell problem, of course. He has a complete wire harness issue. He is sitting in the pits at King of the Hammers, replacing his entire wire harness on the car.
Oh my
My
gosh.
first experience with change control. And I got to know the guy, and he did very well for all the problems that he had that weekend. He did really well, and I was like, yeah, we need to move forward. We sponsored him. We got him our stage 5 kit and got it installed in the car, and then I got to watch him throughout the season, missing a door here or the James Cantrell videos. Yeah. So
yeah.
He kept bugging me last year saying, hey, you've got to come out to this race in Kentucky, Races to Riches. And I was like, and I was talking with another guy that we sponsored, and I got to do a leg of the Vegas to Reno race. It was my first time really getting in a race car. Working around I wanted to, but that was my first time. And I was like, yeah, we'll come out to it. And he's like, you come out, you can get in the car with me. I was like, great, I'm down. Well, then, of course, all his buddies start chiming in like, dude, you're crazy.
Yeah.
No idea what you're in for. We went out to Races to Riches, and they had, of course, Joey puts on such a great event. And there were some issues. God, I don't remember what. I try and remember what it was, but they ended up pushing the race back. And then they came up with the decision, like, you guys are doing this many laps, which was more than they normally did. It was like, okay, so we're going to have a fuel stop, whatever. So we got in the car. I guess it hadn't rained in Kentucky for a long time. It was, desert dusty. And it was a night race, and we went up there, and I had a ball. I had a great time. It was I have a whole new respect for those guys. They sponsor a lot of East Coast racers, and man, it's a lot different driving between the trees.
Yes, it is.
Full speed than it is out in the desert. It's a completely different experience, but yeah, we had a blast. Didn't lose any doors.
Hey, there's one in every bunch, right?
Yeah, it was a great time, and I told him we've got to do this again. So I know Dynojet has signed on as a platinum sponsor with the Pro Rock Series for this season.
Amazing.
Really bummed we're supposed to be racing this weekend.
I was just about to say that, but it's still amazing that you guys are sponsoring that series, because personally, I'm a big fan of that series. Big fan of the endurance races. I know that there's a few that are starting to kind of blossom in the East Coast, and Pro Rock and Joey, man, they've done an awesome job with it so far.
Yeah, we're really excited to be a part of it, and I'm looking forward to getting back in the car with James. We're definitely doing a race again, and I keep bugging him. I'm hoping Cole will back out and let me get in the car with him for King of the Hammers next year. We'll see.
Yeah, it'd be a long day. I'll just say that it'd be a long day. But we mentioned it briefly there in the tune conversation. In probably the most popular discussion when it comes to performance, things like that, and also at the same time, one of the more confusing pieces of all this is clutching. Clutching is a process, to say the least, and I know that there are there are products where you can ship it to someone with a backing of the experience that you guys have in terms of the testing you guys have done and things like that. But say, for example, I'm a great example right now. I just got a set of Super Grip ATV K9 tires. They're awesome. They hook well. They're Kevlar. They're heavier than the Bighorns I was running, so it's a big step up on my drivetrain. I've lost a little bit of my power, and I'm looking for either a clutch option, a tune option, or gears, or what have you. But when it comes to clutching, how do you guys go through the process with someone? How do you guys service someone that calls and said, hey, here's my issue. I don't have enough power. I went to a bigger tire.
Well, I mean, so there, of course, we are out there with a lot of companies that all they do is clutching. They have the ability to specialize in, okay, here's a clutch setup for rock crawling, in this situation, lower gears, all that kind of stuff. What we've done is, again, we come out with a product line that covers 85% of the people out there.
Mm-hmm.
We go for the masses, basically, what the majority of people need. We tested our kits in race cars, got feedback. What our kit does is it is adjustable. So a lot of kits, they've got a bolt, put the bolt through, this way's here. Our clutch kit uses earth magnets. So each earth magnet is worth about 150 RPM. So what we do is we give you, say, okay, I have a 2018 Polaris XPT. So here's a clutch kit. Comes with the primary spring, secondary spring, arms, and weights. We give you the initial setting and say, okay, so you're doing trail riding, you're running 32-inch tires. Here's your initial setting. You put those weights in there. We tell you what primary spring, what secondary spring. Then we go say, okay, go out, put your foot on the floor. When you hit 55 miles an hour, find out what your RPM is.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking for about, on that car, about 8,300 RPM.
Okay.
If you're low or high, we know to either add or remove magnets. The nice thing is that you can actually, so now I'm going for out here in the desert where we are. So I'm going to dunes this weekend. Well, that's going to be a different setup. So you might just have to add some weight or remove weight. So the nice thing is the clutch kit is adjustable based on that.
So let me interrupt because I will forget. I got two questions there. First off, it's awesome that you guys offer an adjustable kit. My first question is, how many do you guys, estimate or think? And I'm sure in the instructions it says go hit 55, get track of your RPM. How many people do you think actually take the time to do that and will make adjustments after that fact?
I would probably say 40 to 50% won't do that. They will go out and go, I don't, something seems off. And then we'll tell them to do the test. Then they'll do the test, and then they'll give us the feedback. Then we'll know how to adjust it from there. It's one of those things, there is no perfect setting for everybody. Every car is slightly different. That's why we give you basically where to start and then to adjust from there. And we make it easy. In all reality, you can do the adjustments while it's on the car. You don't actually have to take it off. It's not the easiest in the world, but you can get the magnets out or add magnets. Can-Am, a little harder. Can-Am, we are the only person that, maybe some other people have followed by now, but we were the only company that changed all 6 arms out. Most often, they changed 3 arms out. But we did all 6, which gave us the most adjustability across the.
Right.
So. But clutch, there's so much in depth that you can go with that. That's why I was saying, one of our engineers wants to do a session, with you where you guys can get into a true in-depth technical.
Sure.
Sometimes they get into some technical stuff with me and it goes over my head. But I know my car, it's been running the same belt for at least a year. I think we just changed it out. The original car we did testing on for the Can-Am clutch kit did entire Best in the Desert race season on the same belt, looked brand new when we took it off the car.
Perfect. Yeah. So let me ask you this follow-up to what you mentioned a minute ago in terms of people calling you and saying, hey, something's not right. 2 things. One, how many would you say actually call you guys as a follow-up call? Because, I would say a lot of my friends down here, I don't know if I call them all my friends, but a lot of folks down here would probably just slap a clutch kit on, hey, it's better than it was, and just leave it because they don't want to have to do any of it all over again. Do you think, again, that's a personal preference, but is that second step of getting the RPM, making the adjustments based off the RPM, is that really a big player, or is just doing the modification on its own enough?
Most often, I would say the average guy is not going to notice the big difference, meaning where maybe it's 100, 200 RPM off. They're not really it's not going to make a difference to them. But the guy who's out there all the time, is working on his own stuff, knows that 200 RPM and wants that RPM where it's supposed to be. misconception is that where the car actually shifts out, they're thinking that that's where they should be on the red line. Well, no, not. You're shifting out at 83. You still might rate about to 86, 8700.
Mm-hmm.
But where the clutch shifts completely out and where the clutch is no longer moving is at 8,300 RPMs. That's where your peak horsepower is at.
Interesting. Very
Doesn't mean
interesting.
that you're actually going to not get any more speed or RPM out of it. It's just where the clutch is not doing anything anymore. Kind of like a 10-speed bike.
Yeah.
The chain goes back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't go any further.
Yeah. So all that being said, someone give me a quick synopsis of how the conversation goes. I call you. I say, hey, I've got a 2017 1000 XP non-turbo. I just put 35s on my vehicle. What do you think I should do? Are you going to hit me with a product and just and go here? Or what's the conversation?
What we'll tell them is, okay, so first off, clutch kit is mandatory at that point. Stock clutches are only basically made for stock tire size.
Right.
What will happen is once you put the bigger tires on, you'll start noticing your RPM starts dropping. Maybe it's shifting out now at 8,000 RPM. Well, it starts doing that, you're losing horsepower. You might not notice it right away, but you'll notice that's when why is my buddy pulling away from me? Okay. So then we go, okay, here's your clutch kit. This is what, these are your initial settings. When you get it, start with this, go out, do the test. Whether they do the test or not, we won't know.
Okay.
But it is one of the steps that we have in the installation guide to determine where we need to adjust it. We state in there that this is a starting point, that, every car is slightly different. Most of the time, they can put it in there, and it's so close it doesn't matter.
Right.
You don't want to spend hours fixing, messing with it. But it's the bottom line is as soon as you change tires, you need to.
Yeah, that's a really. I want to say it's unfortunate because a lot of guys really they just kind of take it on the chin and they rob their vehicle of the performance that it could have. And I mean, in all reality, clutches are not the most expensive upgrade that you're going to make to that car, for sure. But in the flip side, it's going to be probably the upgrade that you notice the most, especially when you change the tire size. Because again, anyone that's put on 32s or like a good heavy solid 32, the second you press the gas after it, you just hear your belt back there just squealing like a little pig. It's very, very, very quickly you'll find out why you need it. But all that being said, again, there's a lot of technical depth that could be gone in on there, and I'll get in touch with your engineer and we'll set some time up to do that. But tell me about the stages in your tunes, because we kind of briefly mentioned it, but you mentioned a stage 5 versus, you mentioned the injectors, the bigger turbo, etc. Talk me through stage 1 to a stage 5 for a Razor XP turbo.
Okay. Well, across the board, the stage 1 is basically the tuner itself.
Okay.
That's what we consider stage 1. Like I said, there's other people who do like their tunes or stages. Ours are packages. That's our stages. Like there's actually parts that come with it. So stage 1 is your tuner. Stage 2, which is one of those things like we always say that should be with just about everybody out there. That's a tuner and clutch kit combo. It saves you a little money buying them together.
Yeah.
Stage 3 for Polaris would be the charge tube, clutch kit and tuner. Our charge tubes do come with a billet blow-off valve. Stage 4, we jump up to. Sorry, we just created a new stage. Sorry.
Okay.
Anyway, out with the stage 3 plus. Stage 3 plus, I forgot, it's a new one. Actually, is our new billet wastegate that we came out with.
Okay.
Now, all of our stages as we go come with tunes already pre-built for those stages.
Okay.
You don't really need it until you get to stage 3 plus, because the charge tube's not giving you any more horsepower. Clutch kit is not giving you any more, maybe a horsepower. That's not where it's coming from. It's actually just it's allowing the clutch to give you your actual horsepower.
Right.
The 3 Plus, because of the wastegate, we do need to give you a new tune. The stage 4 is where we jump up to the bigger turbo.
Okay.
James loves that turbo.
Yeah.
We're pushing about 21 psi with it. So you'll see about 40 horsepower gain with the Polaris turbos, 45. And then stage 5 for the Polaris, it comes with that coolant tank. That's more, you're going to see more of the Dune guys for that. It just helps lower charge temps a little bit more. In the newer 2020s, it doesn't even fit. So it's for the up to 2019. Majority of people you see on the stage 4 with the bigger turbo. The bigger turbo does come again with the billet wastegate. That is not our new wastegate. That picture hasn't been changed out. Actually, it's a red wastegate that says Dynojet on it. We do change out. There it is in the top. Yeah.
This one?
You can see it on the Can-Am. The picture's changed, but that's actually our new wastegate.
There we go.
Yeah, we have it for Polaris and Can-Am.
That's sharp.
But we change out all the internals. What it is you send in your core. We have a rebuilt turbo. All the internals are done. Bigger wheel on the intake side. One less blade on the exhaust side. Completely bead blasted. 1-year warranty on the turbo. So that is the new Can-Am one. Stage 5 does come with bigger injectors. That kit, like I said, is about 60 horsepower. The Can-Am is just a bit of a more efficient engine and turbo. So we were able to pull more out of it.
So let me ask you this. I know you have. Are you own a UTV? Yes.
I do.
Okay.
What UTV? I have a Can-Am.
Okay. Very nice.
I actually bought our show car. We had a 2017 Can-Am X3, 64-inch model that my wife and I bought. I took her for our anniversary last year. I took her to her first off-road race.
Cool.
She saw her first trophy truck and, of course, wanted that. And I said, well, we can't afford that. But we got down to a UTV. So, we bought that from Dynojet and turned it into a race car. We raced the rally class in Best in the Desert. And now we're adding in the sportsman class for Snore just to have some more fun. So it's fun. As anything, it's a work in progress. Constantly working on it, constantly building it up. So it's fun though.
So let me ask you this: going from the sales side, the business side to things, to now, you have a vehicle. You guys went to a race. You guys are, if I recall correctly, you said you're beginning to race. How does that go for you? Because there it is, right there. That bad boy. That is sharp.
So that was our first race at Parker. That was a very long day. That was the first race that we did in that car. My wife drove the first lap. We changed. I drove lap 2. About 30 miles in, we twisted the drive line up. And the co-driver that was with me and I spent about an hour pulling the drive line out of the car and throwing it in two-wheel drive and doing the remaining 55, 60 miles in two-wheel drive. So it was an accomplishment just to get to the end of that. But it's been since fixed. We raced Laughlin in February, where I rolled the car on lap 1. We got it back on all fours and finished all 6 laps. So we finished both races. We've
that's right there. That's
all these guys know me.
Yeah. Well, it is impressive to say you finished both of those races. Both of those races are I don't want to say this. They have a reputation. So to say you finished them is awesome. One thing I did want to bring up though is you guys have other UTV related products, don't you?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about what all of the array that Dynojet sells.
So we have, so we don't just do clutch kits for just, right now we have Polaris Can-Am. We've just released one for the Wildcat XX. I know they are working on one for the Kawasaki KRX.
Have you looked at that car yet?
Yes, we have a Power Commander out currently. Of course, there's always hopes that we'll be able to flash tunes there, but we are working on. I know we did some testing on a clutch for it since it does have a CVT clutch. Definitely has some potential. We also do stuff like clutch tools. We have a spacer kit for the XP Turbo. Every belt. So you take three XP Turbos on, put them on a showroom floor. The belt tension on all three of them will probably be different. So we have a kit that goes in there that removes the circlip and allows you to tighten or loosen the belt to where it should be. So it's a simple product, but it works. We have, like I said, wastegates, injectors, charge tubes, clutch kits. We're coming out with some more tools. We have wideband kits that go with our flash tuners that allow you to data log, where you can build custom tunes of your own with it. Because a lot of people don't have access to a dyno, so that will they can use our wideband kit with their unit, send us a log, we'll build the tune for them and send it right back.
Wow, that's really cool. One thing I want to ask here is, you mentioned clutch tools. If anyone has ever tried to work on their clutch, or even at very least remove their belt, it's not the easiest task in the world. What are some of the clutch tools that you guys make, and which would you say is the most necessary to have with you?
Well, we do have a tool for pulling the belt, on the naturally aspirated cars. It has a beer opener on the other side, so it's very handy to out. We do, there's a couple of kits that we sell, other manufacturers make for us, but we sell a complete kit to do a Can-Am clutch, which otherwise, without this kit, you can't buy the kit. It has to come directly from BRP. It was only sold to dealers. So this is a kit that will work. So I know there's a lot of stuff in the pipeline. We're thinking of some other stuff. I know the big question we always get asked is they go into the Power Vision Flash Tuner and they go, hey, it's got Bluetooth. It does have Bluetooth ability that is not turned on yet. They are working on an app that will basically allow you to access our website, download directly through the app into the unit via Bluetooth.
That's cool.
So that'll be something, once that is released, it will be just a simple firmware update to turn it on the unit. So previous people can use it too. You just update the firmware and you're good to go.
Yeah, that's really, really neat. So let me ask you this. We did mention earlier that you guys sponsor people, I'm assuming all across the nation. We didn't even mention this. Where are you located? Where are you based out of?
So Dynojet has two offices. We have the office that I'm located, which is in North Las Vegas, Nevada. That's where our tech support, sales, warehouse, R&D is. Then we have our Montana location. Our Montana location is engineering, manufacturing. That's where our dynos are built. So it's a marriage between those two offices to get to where we are. So we got about, I'd say somewhere about 100, 110 employees.
Okay. Wow. That's big. That's a big operation to get going. That's pretty amazing.
Are you bigger?
Yeah, well, agreed. But I feel like that number was bigger than I expected, but I didn't take necessarily into account the fact that you guys are manufacturing everything as well. So that's really awesome that you guys are doing that yourself. But the reason I bring that up is, can you just give me a rundown of like the Dynojet race program? Maybe even drop me some of the names you guys have, all the whole 9 yards.
So the Dynojet race program, we've always supported racers at different levels, anywhere from discount. Some guys, that have proven themselves get free product. But most often we're just trying to support because we know most racers are on a budget.
Yeah.
And so, we try to help them out. Usually what we look in return is decals run on the vehicle, social media posts. I mean, I got a couple of them that are watching right now, Devin Spitt, James Cantrell. These are guys that over the last year and a half, like since I got into the UTVs, kind of build a relationship with. We stay in constant communication. Sometimes, like with James, I get the opportunity to go in the vehicle. But, right now, originally we started off mainly West Coast. That's really because that's where I am. That's where the racers that I saw. But, slowly but surely, people like James and Devin have brought me east. Now we're trying to focus and get some more East Coast stuff, Midwest. Bottom line is I'm myself and Dynojet are looking to grow this industry. The guys who are racing, in my opinion, are the ones who are my best spokesperson when I'm unavailable.
Agreed.
So I can only spend so much time on social media trying to stay on top of every question that I see. And we have a social media guy, Justin, that is, he's just joined the team in like the last 6-8 months, but does a great, phenomenal job where it used to be all, I was constantly doing. And so he's been huge on doing that. But I count on these guys to answer the questions for me. And they do. They're constantly, oh yeah, try this, because they know they've used our product. They know our product. They know it works. So it's, it's a big list of people. Sometimes not as big as I'd like, but we're there. I would say it's UTV heavy now, because that's personally where the market has gone. But we still do motorcycles. We're still there to help motorcycle people. We're very well known in the Harley industry. But I like seeing Dynojet names on the podium.
Yeah.
So it's the racer program. If someone wants or is interested in seeing if they can get a sponsorship from us, they can email me direct. We take it on a case-by-case basis. Of course, right now everything's a little tight. But we know it's all going to open back up. Again, we're still developing new product, and I count on the feedback from these guys. I send them out something. I'm looking for feedback to know how it performs, what issues they're having. We try to fix it. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's really great. And one of the most important things that I cannot continue to reiterate is a company that supports people who buy their products and spokesmen within their own field. It really goes a long way, and it says a lot about the company too. So I tip my hat to you guys for that, for sure. But all in all, that kind of wraps up all my questions. I'm going to just field some more things at you, just for my own personal opinion here. What did you think of King of Hammers this year?
I loved it. I love that event. It was heartbreaking to see James not finish.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
Spent all day watching him, and but that is such a cool event. I love that environment. The people there, it's we brought the guy who did the event with me a year before came back this year with me, and then we brought a newer guy with us, and he was just blown away by the size of it and what goes on. I mean, I have never seen such a well televised sporting event.
Yeah, how amazing! So I actually I actually took the day off of work to sit and watch the 4400 class, and it was great. I had so much fun. There was so much anticipation. The UTVs, I mean, all over it, crazy. Just the fact that they can not only have the coverage, but the leaps and bounds they're making from year to year in terms of what I can watch sitting on my couch, just sitting on my couch in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and I can literally have like second to second updates on these cars. Amazing. I am a huge fan and very thankful that they do all they do to get it out to all of us, because it's pretty amazing how they make it work. But I've gotten some emails and some questions and a few calls from people, and they are asking me, how did Can-Am do so well? Was there this I'm gonna use it, I'll just go ahead and say it. Is there a conspiracy? Is this big sweep of Can-Am because now Can-Am's the main sponsor? What are your thoughts on that? Because obviously Can-Am had huge success this year.
Personally, I think if you watch what goes on between Can-Am and Polaris, it's a back and forth. I mean, I don't know if you saw the post at Vegas to Reno. Within minutes of the top 10 finishers, there was a post up about Can-Am's superiority during that race. I know it's kind of a toss-up. I mean, Can-Am is a great desert car. It's but then I've ridden in James's car, and I absolutely think it's a beast. So I hate to say that it's at any given day it's a person's. It can be theirs.
Sure.
Especially at King of the Hammers.
Yeah.
Anything is possible. And if your car is just, you have a flawless day, no one's going to touch you. And I'm sure Can-Am put a ton of money behind their racers. James.
Yeah.
But
we're going to get there. Don't worry.
Those questions are hilarious. But I just think that Can-Am came in with a vengeance for this race, and I just think they had the day. But then you turn around and watch Brandon Sims at the Mint 400, and
it's very true.
He demolished the field.
Yeah, it's very true. Let me ask you, from a performance perspective, who's in the lead? And I immediately have a follow-up question. Who's in the lead performance-wise?
Personally, I think what the car can do, up until the Pro XP came out, I was going to say Can-Am had leaps and bounds over Polaris. We were shocked at work by the Pro XP. And I think maybe some tweaks to the car, and it'll be a force to be reckoned with.
Really?
Yeah. The Can-Ams do really well in the desert. They do. But again, on any given day, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, agreed.
You can build these cars so they're basically both the same. Last year, the No Limit car with Phil Blurton, that car was almost untouchable all season.
Yeah.
And then Mitch Guthrie won in a Polaris after the car broke in the last race.
Yeah.
All he had to do is, if he finished in the top 10, he would have had the season wrapped up, and he broke.
Yeah.
All it took was one day. So, again, that's.
I agree with you. And I think especially for me, and I may be the only one pushing this narrative, because I ask everybody that comes on the show, I feel like Polaris is about this close, and there's just like you said, a few modifications, and that Pro XP is it. I've ridden in the And actually, Hubert Rowland from Nitro Circus, I rode in his Can.
I was in his car at King Hammers.
Woo! That is a fast car, man. That thing is dangerous. It is just, I've never been in anything. Let me phrase it like this. And this isn't a knock or anything, but that car is so violently fast. It seemed overpowered for the weight of the chassis. I felt like it wasn't supposed to have that amount of just like roughness to it. It just felt like, and to be honest with you, I mean, there's a big kick for like inner fenders that are steel, so objects can't come through the floorboard. In the East Coast, it's a really big deal. However, that was my main concern because we started going way fast right out of the gate, and it's just crazy fast. But at the same token, just shortly before he got that car, I got a chance to actually drive his Pro XP, drove it around. That car drives better than anything I've ever been in, steers better, steers under itself. Absolutely wonderful car. But it's about that close from making me feel the way that Can-Am felt. And it's, what do you think about all of that? Because I agree with you, it's close, but there's a gap.
I mean, I've ridden in multiple Can-Ams, and it's my preference. It's a completely different ride.
It is.
We did some clutch stuff for Hubert at King of the Hammers, and he and I went out testing his car, and whew, yeah, that was eye opener in his car. But
yeah, it's a bad boy. And Dave Taylor actually just ran in there. Can I get the screen replaced on my PVCX?
No, you can't. But contact our office. You would want to email PVCX Tech. That's PVCXTECH at Dynojet.com. Explain what happened, and they've got some stuff that we do stuff like, discount replacements where, we can help you out on a discounted price because you've got a broken screen or it's gone out. Sometimes if it's gone out and has nothing to do with you, they might even extend warranty on that. It's all depending on the circumstance, but contact our office, and they're definitely not going to say you're screwed. We're definitely here to help you. So.
Gotcha. Well, that little bit of derail, but we're back. So let me ask you this. We'll address James's question. You've had the opportunity to go to both East Coast, West Coast. You mentioned earlier it's different going faster in the trees, but if you had to pick one that is okay, we'll answer James' question. Which one's better? Which one do you like better?
Well, I would wait for James to come out and race one of our races and then pose the question to him. Okay. They're night and day difference. When you're hitting dry lake beds doing 95, 98 miles an hour across it, if someone's in front of you, you really can't see. It's a different kind of racing environment. I love the tree racing. It was a ton of fun. I caught myself ducking inside the cab a few times, which, is hilarious. But I don't know if I could choose one over the other. That's why I want to do the two races that I can back east with him, just because it was a great experience. But desert racing, I'm hoping he's going to come out and we're going to do a desert race together out here. It's different because you have such wide open sections where you're just foot on the floor, wide open throttle.
It's very rare that you get to do that in the East Coast.
Yeah, it's very on and off and tight. But the technical side of it is, half the stuff he drove up, I couldn't believe we did. Desert car brake.
Yeah.
As tough as a desert car is, they're not built the same. You're looking for a narrower car in the trees.
Yeah.
I run a 64-inch car in the desert, and I teeter on the ruts because there are usually the 72-inch or 80-inch wide cars going through there, and I'm struggling to stay in there. You want a wide car, the whoops. they're spaced enough that you need a longer car to get across the top of them instead of violently hitting up and down on them. So it really is. They're just so opposite spectrums, but I hope I get the opportunity to do both of them for a long time.
Yeah, that's a great answer. I like that. But we're just over that hour mark, so I won't keep you much longer. Is there anything else that you'd like to mention while I've got you and you've got everyone here?
Everyone knows my social media. I am always here to answer questions. I'm always, there's not a time, unless I'm dead asleep, I'm usually answering questions around the clock because, not every problem happens during the hours of 8 to 5. So, I like to be there as much as I can without, of course, neglecting my family. But, don't ever feel that you can't contact me because I'm more than happy to help. And if I don't have the answer, I'll get you the answer.
Yeah. And you're very responsive too. I think it was Sunday night at like 9 o'clock. I messaged you and I was like, "Hey, you want to come on the podcast this week?" So I appreciate it. I'm very, very, very appreciative. Obviously, you have brought your team with you here, so it's very exciting to have had you on the show. Is there anything else before we close it out?
If we get to do this Races to Riches in June, we need to do this again with me and James after this.
I'll tell you what, I'll be there. How's that? And we can do it in person. And we can.
Let's do it in person because we're doing Records with Checkers this time.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to end the broadcast. And Matt, just stay on the line for me. Everybody, thanks for joining us. It's been an excellent episode, and I can't wait till next time.
All right. Thanks, guys.